Hey y'all, Bloodwing here, back to bring some grumpiness to your internet. And welcome back to Redneck Radio, the live stream where you get an extra healthy side helping of fried catfish and hush puppies. Oh, now I'm
I've
hungry.
never had catfish.
Catfish is, I'm not much of a fish eater, but I do like catfish.
I'm not much of a fish eater. Bloodwing 2019.
I'm really not. I'm really,
No,
really
I'm the
not.
same, mate. I'm the same. I can't stand salmon. I can only stomach tuna in like small amounts. Like it needs to be with something else, really. I
Well, I do like tuna salad. I do like a nice tuna salad sandwich.
I'm not really a fan of tuna. I mean, if it's on a sandwich and that, I mean, I'm not a fan of it. Uh, but like, I'll eat it if it's there. You cover it in ketchup and I'll eat it.
There's Mama Minnie, catfish. Hey, Pop, brother, chat, and happy birthday, Papa. Yes, as you can see by the title, it is my dad's 80th birthday today, and
Yes, it is.
tomorrow it will be Mama Minnie's birthday.
So happy birthday to my granddaddy.
So everybody wish her a happy birthday as well, because we won't be streaming tomorrow.
And happy birthday to you, my sister from another mister for tomorrow.
And if I recall correctly, she'll be 32.
Oh, she's going to kill you for saying that. Don't tell them my age.
Necrosaw, I'm glad you asked. I'm really, you might be able to hear it in my voice. I'm kind of upbeat today. Tad was doing really good today. Most of you know that he's in a home, and he's in the assisted living side of the establishment, whatever. And I drove over and visited with him today, and he is probably the most lucid I've seen him in a long time. A long time, and he sounded really strong. His voice was strong, and actually, as I went to leave, he was getting up to go eat lunch with some of the staff.
Oh,
so yeah, he looked good. He looked good.
That's brilliant.
Yeah,
I'm very happy to hear that, man.
yeah. So I was really kind of dreading it a little bit, because I'm like, oh geez, I hope he's not in, because the type of dementia that he has. Some days you can't tell anything's wrong with him. Other days he's really bad. And I was afraid it might be one of those bad days, being his birthday, but no. I even joked with him, and he laughed. I walked in. I said, "So 80 years old, honey?" Yeah. He says, "I can't believe I made it." I said, "Well, neither can I." And then I said, I'm surprised I can count that high, Pop." He thought that was funny, but yeah, he's doing really good. Thanks for everybody that was concerned. Yeah, I felt really good about the visit. Really did.
Well, that's awesome, man. I'm very happy to hear that. I know. I used to, as you know, I've been a carer. In fact, one of my first job when I left the Navy was a carer for the elderly, and I got to care for quite a few people with dementia, Alzheimer's, that kind of stuff, Yeah. And I know full well that they can have good days and they can have some pretty goddamn bad days as well.
Yep.
And my grandpa hasn't tried to hit anybody, has he?
Not lately.
Not lately. One of my first experiences, as a carer working with people with dementia, was an old couple. I was an old couple. I used to work in an independent living elderly apartment complex, but the bottom floor was like a kind of like village, if you like.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was a big like marble floored hall, but it had a barber, it had a dining hall, it had a gym, it had a sensory room.
Yeah, that's where this is. It has all that stuff. Yeah.
And a chiropodist, and I used to go see this couple, and the female was like she was like pretty much prepping to go into a nursing home, and she was getting there, and but like every so often I'd go in there and it'd be a different experience every damn time.
Yep.
The husband, like he was all over the place. The wife, chill. Every single time I went in was really chill. The husband, not so much. I
Yeah.
once went in and he accused me of trying to bang his missus.
Were you?
Well, no. He was like 90. And she had a goddamn mustache.
That was the deal breaker, huh? She had a mustache.
And she was old. I'm not above older women and stuff. I mean, VB's older than me and everything, but goddamn, it's a bit of a leap. Of course, there was that one time when I went in and he was just being an horrible bastard to her. You know, he was getting right in her face, right in her ear, going, "Oh, state of you're horrible, you're ugly," all this kind of stuff. I'm just like, right, you need to pack it in now, mate. Come on, it's not very nice. And she was like separated not long after that.
Yeah, yeah, he has his good days and he has his bad days, and he has some days that are really, really, really super bad. You know, just where he's just totally out of it. Now, thankfully, up to now, the one constant has been no matter how bad he gets, he knows who I am. So if I show up, it kind of anchors him a little bit, you know, because he does know who I am, even if he forgets everybody else.
Yeah. That's good, man. Because like, as when my nan started like turning with her dementia. By the way, she's 100 next month.
Oh,
yeah,
cool beaners.
She'll get her telegram from the Queen.
Oh,
I believe my uncle's already applied for it as well. Yeah, my nan started forgetting who I was. Then she actually forgot who my mum was. Which, when you think about it, it's kind of messed up because, like, my nan adopted my mum.
Yeah.
And my mum was the first black woman in the town that I grew up in. And like,
right.
you think you'd remember out of all of her kids, you think you'd remember that one.
But yeah,
sorry, man, I interrupted you.
Oh, no. But yeah, I was feeling really. I think he was dozing off when I first woke in, so I think I startled him because I walked in and said, "Pop," and he's like, "What?" He was laying in his bed and dozing off, but and which is the reason I didn't get the stream up until almost time to start. I tried to warn everybody on Twitter, but I know not all of you have Twitter. I did try to warn you. I come home and I was so beat because it's about a half-hour drive over to where he's at from my house. I was just so beat that I had to lay down for a little bit. But yeah, the whole time I was there, some of the aides and nurses were coming in. They brought him in a balloon that said "Happy Birthday" on it, and they kept stopping by and wishing him happy birthday.
Yeah.
As I was leaving, one of the nurses says, "I just love your dad. He's just so sweet and everything." I'm like, "Are we talking about the same guy?" I mean, I love my dad, but sweet's not one of the words I would use to describe him.
Well, it's the care, isn't it? They have to say things like that. Plus, I guarantee you they dealt with worse.
Oh, yeah.
I guarantee you they dealt with much, much worse, man.
Well, the whole time I was there, the lady next door just hollered. She wasn't saying anything. It was just a holler, just the whole time we were there. And I'm like, gee, many Christmas.
Yeah, they do that. But was she dying?
I don't know what was going on. Nobody seemed to be too concerned about it because they were just going about their business. But
I guess so.
Yeah, yeah, it was a really good, probably the best visit I've had in quite a long while with Dad, since of course, he dropped a few little snarky bombs at me, you know,
well, of course.
Which he's wont to do and has been even since way before this. But hey, Six, how you doing?
Damn it, Bloodwing, I was typing that as you said it. Hi, Six.
He was mentioning about some stuff he was doing just before I was put in jail, he said, because, we put him in the home, didn't have any choice. It wasn't like we said, okay, Dad, you got to go. He fell down and broke his back. And we didn't have any choice. The hospital said he's going there or, else.
Yeah.
So
it's often for their own safety a lot of the time, having to put them into care. Unfortunately, it's so expensive, man.
Oh, good Lord. It is.
Even
Unfortunately,
over here, man.
He's retired from the post office, so he has the best of insurance. And he had one thing I did not inherit from my father was his money sense. He's always been a skinflint, and he's saved quite a lot of money. But by my brother-in-law's figures, we're the two that deals mostly with Dad and Dad's affairs. He's got maybe another year before he's out of money. It's just that expensive. It's crazy expensive.
Yeah.
We're talking like, oh my goodness, $5,000 a month.
Oof.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not going to be too long before he's out of money. About another year.
At that point, we'll have to put Bloodwing on the corner. Guys have to put him to work.
But put me out there with a tin cup and some pencils. But yeah, I really feel good about it. I was really dreading it. I was dragging my feet. I didn't want to drive out there. I'm like, I don't want to go out there. I just know he's going to be in one of his bad days, and this is going to be awful. But no, it wasn't. But yeah, we had a good talk. He asked me about my surgery because it's the first time I've seen him since the surgery. And
well, he's getting on all right, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's awesome, man. It's awesome.
And Mama Minnie, if you're still listening, he was talking about you a lot because he's always thought it was a big trick that she was born the day after he was. We used to celebrate their birthdays together now and again. Way back when Dad was much younger and or she was just a little kid. But
yeah,
so he was certainly thinking about you.
I feel bad for my nan. She's been in this state for a long time now. Pretty much bedridden in nursing or whatever. Luckily, like her husband, before he died, like bought her house and they were able to sell that off to pay for the care and stuff. And like my aunties and uncles are quite well to do. Unlike me and my mum, we're all scum. So I think they've managed to help a bit. She's still going. Like I feel bad for her, like, because she's not living a life. Like dementia messes with you so badly that it just makes you constantly confused. You don't know who anybody is. You don't know what time of day it is. Yeah, like she has these weird nightmares and stuff, and thinks that she can see her mum and her mum. Yeah, good Lord. My nan was born in 1917. During the Great War, as much as I love her, I don't want her to suffer anymore, really. But I do want her to make it to her 100th birthday. She deserves to. Although she can't sit up or like sit up in a chair or anything now, but I'd like it if she was able to open her eyes just a little bit and hold on to the telegram that the Queen sends her. That'd be nice.
Yeah. Well, the last time I visited Dad, he couldn't even get up out of the bed by himself. He had to call one of the nurses to come help him go to the bathroom, right? And like I said, as I was leaving, he was getting up into his wheelchair to go eat lunch with some of the staff because they'd come in and invited him. Do you want to eat lunch with? And I didn't help him. He got I moved the chair over there for him because it was in the corner of the room, so he could get to it. And he got up out of the bed and into the chair all by himself. I'm like, geez. So
that's awesome, man. One of my fondest memories of my nan, she took me to go see the Queen's birthday.
Oh yeah,
parade. Yeah. I loved it. It was just me and her, and I was a kid, so getting to see all the soldiers with all the different uniforms. Some of them were mounted. It was cool, man.
Yeah.
It was cool. I loved it.
Yeah. And yeah, it was a really good visit. He did get off on how bad he was missing mom, and I'm like, oh Lord, I gotta direct him off this path pretty quick because he'll get bad. He really misses mom, really something terrible. Well, we all do. We all do. And that's what
Yeah.
he was a little bit aggravated because my brother-in-law had took him out there on mom's birthday in February out to the graveyard, and somebody had run over her grave in park, and he was a little ticked about that.
Oh, I can imagine that's a massive understatement.
Yeah, but he says, I imagine they got it fixed by now, but I don't know. I think he was hinting at me to take him out there. But yeah, real good visit. So how have you, enough about me. How about you?
All right, mate. Thank you very much. I finally released a brand new Lord Bear video today. And I tell you what, it was difficult to get through that one. Because like, I think it's been a month since the last time I released the last Lord Bear video. I tend to do them once a fortnight. And I wanted to respond to H3H3's reaction that he did on his podcast to the Burger King mental health themed burger meal thing.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I'm on about, don't you? You know, the blue meal and the I don't give a F meal. And yeah, that H3H3 did a response to that like halfway through his podcast. And as you know, H3H3, like his team will chop up the podcast into shorter videos and then put them out onto the highlights channel. And I wanted to do a response to that because it ticked me off. It ticked me off really, mate, because you've got Ethan Klein here, right? Having the cheek and audacity to complain about Burger King doing what they did when what he did was objectively worse when he promoted BetterHelp.
Yeah.
To his massive fan base. And BetterHelp was just a giant scam. It had therapists. For those who don't know what BetterHelp is, by the way, BetterHelp is a online therapy service.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Yeah.
Yeah, it was promoted by all kinds of different YouTubers. Philip DeFranco, who chose to double down on it, by the way, when he was called out. Boogie, H3H3, and a whole bunch of others, including Shane Dawson, might I add. And the business was hiring people who aren't even qualified therapists and stuff. And there were people basically paying for the service and not getting any kind of service as well. And there was something to do with the fine print, if I remember rightly, but it's not coming to me now. I'll get back to you on that one. There was some extra drama with the fine print. Well, anyway, and he promoted that, and I think he did apologize in the end.
Right.
But just bearing in mind that these YouTubers, these big YouTubers, they were making around $100 a pop per sign up.
Jeez.
Yeah. Some YouTubers were getting more than that, if I remember rightly, from what Boogie said in his video, because Boogie promoted it of all people, Boogie as well. Ugh. It's funny you say that, Owen, because there is something I want to say about Irate Alex, but and Lord Bear. But yeah, so I made a response video to that, and it was quite difficult to do a Lord Bear video response to that. Because there was a serious issue in calling out his hypocrisy in it. And it's hard to make jokes that aren't inside jokes. Like, because everybody in the chat knows who Lord Bear is. Like, he's a posh aristocrat. He has his blunderbuss. He likes the big titty blonde bitches. He likes his cocaine. You guys all know who he is. But like, if anybody new comes along, they're not going to get any of the jokes that I put in the video.
Right?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. You guys enjoy it anyway. I had fun making it, so yeah. And speaking of Lord Bear. And I think people might get annoyed. I am seriously now considering getting rid of him.
Oh, why?
Because Lord Bear's avatar and the fact that he's called Lord Bear And the fact that he started on Irate Bear, as you know, it's funny. The first ever Lord Bear video is my second most viewed video ever on Irate Bear.
Right.
The avatar is Irate Bear with a top hat and monocle.
Right.
And I've been trying for a long time to disassociate the two. As you know, disassociate the bear from Alex, and having Lord Bear is an association between the two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, just keep the character and rename it for your Alex channel.
It wouldn't be the same if I just like changed the avatar and changed the name. Like people have a hard enough time referring to me as Alex and like not talking about the political stuff on that channel, you know?
Yeah, well, I get it. I'd hate to see him go though. I do like that character.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I might. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna fucking do with it. I need to think about it. I do want to create more characters though.
Yeah.
Not bears, obviously, but have different characters to play. I don't want to put Lord Bear back on Irate Bear.
Well, you do what you feels best, sir.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll think about it. So we've been up to, man.
Oh, same old, same old. I did want to, now that I was thinking about it, I wanted to, on the drive up, like I said, it's about a half-hour drive from where I live. And on the drive up, I passed a billboard that I don't know how long it's been there, but I don't recall seeing it before. But it was an advertisement for a Chinese buffet, a Chinese restaurant, Chinese buffet, which are pretty common here in the States. And get this, the name of it is Dongs. Dongs China, eat at Dongs, it said. I'm like, no thanks.
I'm not sure if I want to eat here.
I was like, I wished I'd had my phone out and ready because the speed limit in that area was 55 miles an hour. And so I was by it pretty quick. It's like, I wished I'd have got a picture of that. Eat at Dongs.
You should have got a picture. That's a shame you didn't get one.
Yeah. I might be, maybe the next time I go out to see Dad, I'll try to be ready for it and get a picture of it because I'm sure it'll still be up. I'm like, how long's that been there?
I'll be back in a second, mate. Just gonna grab my cigaretties.
Already. And chat, how
I'm
you
an old
doing?
man at 31, Bloodring.
Oh no, you're not. I got
Somebody
socks.
get me a carer.
I got socks older than you are, dude.
I can believe it as well. Back in a sec.
All right. How you doing, chat? How's everybody doing? And while I'm at it, please like and share the stream because you know YouTube ain't gonna. And if you want to help an old man out a little further and maybe drop a few shekels here and there is Super Chat. And there's also links to my Streamlabs and Patreon in the description. So, yeah. Hey, Viper, how you doing? James Woodright, hey, how you doing? I seen you come in a while ago. It's just I didn't want to interrupt. Coupon Dolly, hey, how you doing? Hope milkshaking doesn't become a thing across the West. It already has. I mean, we've seen plenty of instances of drinks being thrown, even cups of urine being thrown.
Here we go. We're back at this again, are we?
Yeah. Well, somebody brought it up there. James Woodright says he hoped milkshaking didn't become a thing across the West, and I was just saying that it really already has. It's just that right now there's just been so many instances of it over in the UK that it's fresh in our minds. But, yeah, I'm not going to spend too much time on that. You all know my take on it. It just shows infantile children, you know, that have no self-control and a denial of self-responsibility. So
Well, you know how I feel about it, mate. I've made a video on it and I've said a couple things on Twitter about it.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's just don't do it. Don't do it, people. Keep your hands to yourself. I think that's a lesson I learned by the time I was 3 years old. Keep your hands to yourself, you know.
I agree. It's what's sad is the fact that I'm seeing elected British politicians endorsing this, you know.
I know it.
And like I get it, it's just milkshakes, like it's not the end of the world. But you know, like if it happened to them, you know, it wouldn't be the case.
Yeah. It's hey Pat, how you doing? It's not so much what's being thrown at them; it's that anything is being thrown at all. Period. That's the issue. There's no call for that. Just stop it. Keep your hands to yourself. Like I said in a Twitter argument recently.
Who did you get into it with?
BB.
Of course. I Viper, that's one of the points that I brought up in my video. You know, what if it wasn't a milkshake? What if it was a milkshake mixed with something else? Or what if it was a cup, a McDonald's cup full of bleach or acid, you know, or something, you know, something down that along those lines. I even mentioned, you know, small improvised explosive devices, you know, because you know, at the end of the day, we could have months of this milkshake throw-in. And like, you know, people like Sargon, Nigel Farage, etc., you know, they will just expect milkshakes, and then all of a sudden, it's not a milkshake.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, like I said earlier, already over here in the States, we've had soft drinks thrown. We've had cups of urine thrown at people.
Yes, that's happened here as well, man.
You know, so
Nigel Farage had it pretty bad.
Yeah, with eggs and milkshakes and
he said his car jumped on whilst his family was in the car. Yeah. He's been punched,
and that's just ridiculous, people. But as I was saying, as I was in a Twitter argument yesterday that I had, you know, there's a lot of people I might like to. Of course, the person I was arguing with was trying to condone it but they're racist, and I said, but that's irrelevant. It's absolutely irrelevant. It doesn't matter whether they're racist or not. There's a lot of people that I might like to punch in the face, but you know, I'm not going to because, I don't know, I'm an adult, and I realize that if I do punch them in the face, that's on me, not them.
Yeah.
You know, regardless, no matter what anybody does to you, folks, no matter what anybody says to you, and no matter how justified you might feel in taking action, the action that you take on that is your choice. They're not at fault. You are.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, like I said, I don't want to spend a whole lot. There's been so much talk about that lately, and trying to explain that to people that feel like it's justified is just beating your head against a wall.
Yeah, I know.
It's just beating your head against a brick wall.
It is. I'm just trying to find I swear I quote tweeted a politician who justified it.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find it now on Twitter, but I'm not sure whether I did do it or not. Of course, I think Unreal decided to weigh in, didn't he?
Yeah, he called a bunch of wussies. Well, that's not the word he used. You guys know what
I'm sorry, but I refuse to believe that a milkshake being thrown at someone qualifies as quote-unquote violence. Pussies.
Yeah. Well, like I commented on that very tweet, he's just young and chest thumping. He thinks it makes him look tough. Because I suspicion very much that if it happened to him, he'd fold like a cheap suit.
Aye.
Thank you, Cryptic. Nobody should punch our plumpy Alex friend. Well, no, I agree. They shouldn't. No.
I'm not fat. Oh my God. Like, Owen Jones is a right shit. Like, he tweeted this out today. Nigel Farage once declared that he'd don Kaki pick up a rifle and head for the front lines if his type of Brexit wasn't implemented. He said Brexit had been won without firing a single bullet. Days after Joe Cox was murdered, as if that has anything to do with Joe Cox, you utter spastic. And he said, spare me the tears over a banana milkshake. Well, those are saying things. And the people chucking milkshakes are doing things. You can't tell the difference?
Yeah, exactly. And as I said to start with, it's not the fact that it's been milkshakes is irrelevant. It's the fact that they're throwing anything at people.
Yeah.
That keep your hands to yourself. Unless they have thrown something at you or took a swing at you to start with, you have no right to get physical with them just because you don't like their politics. And that's what it amounts to. That's what it's over.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like their politics. So because of course the argument I got in started off because they said, well, I think in some cases they deserve it. Okay, well, who's the judge on when they deserve it?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
as far as I know, they didn't break the law. And I'm fairly sure the Crown Prosecution Service doesn't have any punishments that involve throwing milkshakes at you.
As deplorable as racists may be, last time I checked, it's not illegal to be racist. You know,
it is in England. it's racist to express those opinions. In this
exactly,
country, of course.
Yeah.
Not that I don't think Sargon has ever experienced any, expressed any racism overtly. Not even as well, he's obviously said racist things that were jokes. You know, yeah. So have I.
You think I haven't?
But I'm fairly sure he's never like got in somebody's face and said it in anger, you know?
Yeah. Thank you, Cryptic, for the donation. Not fat, Alex, just plump. More, I assume he means cushion.
Yeah, I assume he does as well. Fine, whatevs. Whatevs, dude. I'll allow it.
Let's get away from the milkshake.
Yes, we should get away from the milkshake stuff. It's just going on and on and on and on and on.
It is. I have those that follow me on Twitter know that I.
Good Lord! Sorry, Bloodwing. But Pat just brings up a great point. He says, "You know how many times radical extremists say something I don't like? You don't see me out there physically assaulting them. Imagine if Pat did.
Oh my gosh,
there'd be none left. They'd all be dead.
Yeah, if they did start that, I'm standing behind Pat.
Yeah,
that's the safest place to be is right behind him.
Mm-hmm. I'm not standing in front of that train.
No, but,
no chance.
Yeah, I've actually found something that I may do some comment or content on.
Hey,
depending on whether I get some, because this will take a while to do. I watched something on Netflix the other night. For those of you older, this name will sound familiar to you. Those that younger, maybe not. But back in the late 60s, early 70s, there was a variety show called Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In. And it was very famous because it really pushed the boundaries on what was allowable on TV back then.
Mm.
And in fact, some of what they got away with, you couldn't get away with today because the jokes would be seen as racist and yada, 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 you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was supposed to be, and it was hilarious. I loved Laugh-In. I think part of the reason I love Laugh-In is because my parents wouldn't let me watch it.
Hey.
Because it was a little risque and there were women in bikinis dancing on it from time to time. And
you're a good Christian boy. Right.
So, but Laugh-In was just hilarious to me and still is, the original. Well, this was supposed to be a salute to Laugh-In by today's celebrities.
Yeah.
So what they did is they intermingled bits from the original with people today doing the same thing, because there were some things about Laugh-In that were standard, like they had the joke wall where people would, there's a big multicolored wall and they would open the door on the wall and pop out and say a one-liner joke or something. and then there was the cocktail party in the background where, they would just freeze the song and everybody'd freeze where they were and somebody would tell a joke, and there were just different things, like that. And they were interspersing, like splicing in their own bits into the original. It was so bad. Terrible. It was awful. I wanted to stick my finger down my throat. It was just that bad. And they obviously did not get what made Laugh In great. Because yes, Laugh In made a lot of fun at conservatives of the day.
Yeah.
But they also poked fun at the other side. Nobody was sacred with Laugh In. They poked fun at everybody. I mean, one of their most frequent guests was John Wayne, and you don't get any more conservative than John Wayne. They had Richard Nixon on Laugh In. So they poked fun at everybody, all sides. But the comedians from today, every joke was men are stupid, white people are bad, orange man bad.
Oh, for God's sake.
Everyone. Billy Crystal, whom I used to respect, come on there and done an entire 5 minutes on nothing but Trump jokes.
Really?
2 female comedians. One of them's Chelsea. What's her name? Chelsea
Manning?
Yeah. No, not Manning. Chelsea
Clinton?
Somebody in chat will probably help me out. Anyway, they done 5 minutes on men are stupid jokes.
Oh, all right.
It was just cringy. Handler, that's it. Chelsea Handler. And Laugh In, when Laugh In was on, of course, you couldn't cuss on TV. You had to be careful. But they would push the line with words that sounded like, or would go right to the point of saying that word and leave it to your imagination. You know what I mean? And their jokes were funny. And you could tell that it was going to be cringy because right off the bat, the modern comics were dropping F-bombs like nobody's business. Like every other word was an F-bomb. And, I'm not opposed to cussing and so forth in comedy or whatever. I've certainly heard, I've been a big Richard Pryor fan, for Pete's sake. Have you ever heard him on stage? But you can tell when they've got nothing funny because they try to cover it up by shocking you with the F-bombs. And it was so bad. It was so bad. So in order to do this right, I feel like I will have to record the entire show. It's an hour-long show, and pull some bits out of it and break it down. And that's going to take some time.
Mr. Wing.
Yes.
Say hello.
Hello.
Not you. Say hello.
Hi.
Say hello, Bloodwing.
Hello, Bloodwing.
Hey, Alfie, how you doing?
But my back is a bit cold because I just went on this blanket.
What did you say was cold?
My back was cold.
Okay, well you got your blanket and you got your duvet, didn't you?
Your back was cold. Well, you got to cover it up.
Yeah, you've got a blanket and you've got a duvet. Yeah.
In my bedroom, I have. So my bed's cold was so awesome.
Are you gonna ask Bloodwing how he is?
Yeah.
Go on then.
Bloodwing, how are you today?
I'm just fine as a frog hair split 3 ways, and that's pretty fine.
Yes, I know that.
You do.
He doesn't. I don't understand him half the time either, Alfie.
I know how it's about no.
You gonna say hello to the chat?
Okay.
Say hi, chat.
Hi, chat.
Say give Bloodwing money.
What?
Say give Bloodwing money.
Give Bloodwing money.
And drop a like.
I dropped the like.
There you had it. Out of the mouths of babes.
There you go. Out of the mouth of pure innocence.
Really?
Oi, boy.
What?
Get up.
I just want to say hello. Bye.
All right, here we go.
I'll speed back.
Right, let me unmute myself for a moment, mate.
Okay. But yeah, like not only that, it says they act like the audience is stupid and try to explain jokes. If you have to explain jokes, is never funny. Exactly. And it just fell so flat. I, of course, watched the whole thing just to see if it got any better. And plus, I did enjoy the clips from the original show. I held out for those. But oh my goodness gracious sakes alive, it was terrible. Absolutely. It was just the perfect juxtaposition to show that people today, comedians today, aren't anywhere half as funny as the people in the 60s and 70s. And they had a lot more rules then to work under.
Oh, Richard Pryor was amazing. I preferred his acting work.
Yeah.
His films with Gene
Wilder.
Gene Wilder, yeah. Oh, I love those movies.
Yeah.
Love those movies. They're absolutely amazing, man. But I just tweeted this out. I don't know how familiar you are with British comedy.
Well, yeah, I used to watch. What was that show I used to watch? Are You Being Served?
I've not heard of that one.
It's an older one.
I just tweeted this out saying, do you think in the current year that old school British comedies like Fawlty Towers, Bottom, hell, even Brass Eye, which isn't even that old, could be released today, or The League of Gentlemen? Or even like I even added Little Britain and Come Fly With Me in there because although those shows weren't amazing and they're not that old, they had things like blackface in there, you know.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, could those shows be released now?
Well, absolutely, Laugh-In could not, because first of all, they would see the jokes, some of the jokes as being racist or homophobic, or like I said, nothing was sacred to Laugh-In. They picked on everything, and it was just a series. There was no really long bits. It was just like a bunch of in-your-face, rapid-fire one-liners, just bam, 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 all the time, which kept you off guard.
The Scotsman says, "Come Fly With Me" is only like 10 years old. I know, and I did say that it's not that old at all. It's within the last 10 years. But do you think that you could have that again? Like one of the characters is, played by a white guy, but the character is a black woman.
And yes, Necrosol, Henry Gibson, that's one of the characters, the poetry guy. It was one of the characters that he played. So yeah, you're onto the right one there. Oh, Benny Hill. Oh my gosh, who hasn't watched Benny Hill?
It's pretty sad, isn't it? Like even shows as young as Little Britain and Come Fly With Me, which it had its moments. There were some characters in the show like that I liked. Some of it was not really my cup of tea or whatever. But I do remember there being an article of David Walliams, and I forget the other guy's name, the ones who wrote the show, apologizing because both shows had characters that they played where they did blackface in it, Yeah. And I'm willing to bet that there's probably a couple of fat shaming apologies as well in there as well, and homophobia apologies actually.
Sean DW 175 says Laugh-In is what SNL used to try to be. Actually, it's actually a known fact that SNL took a lot of inspiration from Laugh-In. Laugh-In was one of the first shows to try that format and to push those kind of boundaries. And it got so popular that during its run, it only ran for 4 or 5 years. During its run, you were nobody if you didn't have a cameo on Laugh-In. All these huge stars were calling, begging to be on the show. Huge stars. And like I said, even Richard Nixon, while he was a sitting president, he was running for his second term. and he appeared on Laugh In. It was quite a cultural phenomenon of the time. Oh, it spawned countless catchphrases. Sock it to me, you know, you bet your sweet bippy, the flying fickle finger of fate. It just all, yeah, all kinds of things. I loved it, but God, they really missed the boat with that special. Thank you, Willingham, for the donation, playing Trucking Simulator and listening to BW. Hey, there you go. Breaker 19. Is it we got us a
It's Matt
boy.
Lucas who's the other one. Sorry, my bad. I forgot the guy's name.
No problem.
The Scotsman, I'm fairly sure that Matt Lucas isn't gay.
I'm not sure, but while you're pondering that, I am going to run to the old man's room.
He's gonna shuffle. He's lying.
Yeah, pretty much. I'll be right back.
David Walliams isn't gay. He's married to a woman. He just acts really gay. He's a very fabulous man. Very fabulous man. It's weird, man. Like British comedy has always been like, is Matt Lucas gay? Matt Lucas is gay. Oh God. Oh no. Nobody wants to see that. So I thought you were talking about David Walliams. I was like, David Walliams isn't gay. I mean, he acts like it, but he isn't. That's weird, isn't it? The one who seems like the heterosexual those two is actually gay. Wow. And nobody wants to see that. Like he may be a funny man and everything, you know, fairly decent comedy writer and actor and stuff. I don't know where you guys stand on that, but he is an ugly man. He is not a good looking guy at all. Oh dear. Yeah, well, while Blood Wings away, we can talk about British comedy. Can you imagine if they tried to release Brass Eye now? Oh my God. Brass Eye was just, even I feel like it goes too far sometimes in that show. They had like a big thing with pedophiles on that show as well. A lot of their skits would involve characters they'd written as pedophiles. And one of their things is like, oh, you've got to watch out for pedophiles. You know, sometimes they use camouflage. Here's a pedophile dressed as a school. Peter Geddon. I'll blow my own brains out. There's like a guy caught on CCTV, literally dressed up as a giant blow-up school when he's running down the road. Father Ted was quite was sometimes pushed the fucking limits as well back then as well, man. Yeah. What was the UK? What was that UK that was in a department store? It was mentioned earlier.
Yeah, that was Are You Being Served?
Mm.
That's the one I used to watch all the time. And I did watch Faulty Towers as well.
Faulty Towers used to be great. I used to watch it a lot. Obviously, it's not part of my generation, but I used to watch a channel called Comedy Gold, I think it's called. Mm-hmm. It had all the old shows. Red Dwarf was a great show. I don't know about Red Dwarf.
Yeah. If you've never seen though, very seriously, if you've never seen anything from Laugh-In, I bet you can find it on YouTube. Any of the original Laugh-In. Some of the jokes are going to be period specific. You might not get because it'll be about celebrities of the day of the time. Yeah. But most of it you probably get, and you just get it's just hilarious. And yes, there were the mostly naked girls dancing in the background with magic marker writing all over them too.
Yeah, guys, the person to speak to about Red Dwarf is actually Peter Ormond. He's been making lots of videos on it and educating me on it because I used to watch it as a kid, but like I wasn't massive on it, you know. I can barely remember the show. One of the only things I could remember is obviously the main cast, like Kat, Crichton, the main character, the Scouse lad, who did Robot Wars for a period of time. There's one episode where the main character got pregnant like a male got pregnant. I was like, laughed at that. But yeah, it's very sad, man. Like even shows that are already 10 years old, you couldn't put them up without massive repercussions.
Well, there was one guy on this special, black guy, and I didn't know who he was. I have no clue. But anyway, he was talking that, and he did kind of seem to get it because he come out and said this show could not be aired today because somebody get their feelings hurt.
That is hold on a second. Carry on.
But yeah, it pretty much ticked me off, and I'm still rolling around in my head whether I'm going to do a piece on it or not. It's going to take some work to do right.
You should, man. You should. I'm just writing this something down.
What you writing down?
I'm not telling you.
Are you not telling me? Okay.
Yeah, someone steal my idea. If I say it publicly. I was thinking about doing a stupid comments video again. I'm not too sure though.
I got you. Sean DW, Soupy Sales. Oh my gosh, I remember the Soupy Sales show. There was there's a famous outtake of the Soupy Sales show. Part of the show was somebody would knock at the door and he'd answer it, right? And somebody knocked at the door, and what you couldn't see on that camera, but they did get it on another camera, but the camera that was actually being broadcast, because this is in the days of live TV, there was this naked stripper on the other side of the door. And here's Soupy Sales trying not to lose it. Paul Lynde was absolutely hilarious. He, as far as quick-witted, nobody could beat him. Watch Hollywood Squares. Watch some of the old Hollywood Squares with Paul Lynde, and you'll see what I mean. He was just rapid fire, just bang bang.
You know who else? That would inspire spurginess.
Yeah.
Jim Davidson.
Yeah.
He used to host a snooker show. The snooker show wasn't like offensive or anything. His stand-up, however, oh boy.
Now
his stand-up,
over here in the States, we do get old British television sometimes, years after they've aired. It's usually on our public television stations, PBS. But years ago, and I cannot remember, that is David something. All I remember is the first name was David, but it was a kind of a skit show. But the host of it was this Irish guy that had part of one finger missing. I remember that because he was always making jokes concerning that finger being gone.
Yeah.
But he would sit down in a chair with what looked like a glass of whiskey, always looked like he was about half drunk. But gosh, I wished I could remember the name of that. It was pretty funny too.
I'm just trying to think of like personalities and stuff that you probably couldn't have today.
Nipsey Russell, yeah. Maddie mentions Nipsey Russell, yeah. His humor wouldn't fly today because, again, it would be considered racist. David Allen, J. Wolf, thank you. Boy, you've got a good memory to remember that. Yeah.
You know who else you couldn't have? Harry Enfield.
Yeah.
You couldn't have him either. I don't think you probably know who he is. He's responsible for some pretty interesting characters over the years. A lot of people fell for his PSA, "Women Know Your Limits."
Yeah.
But he did like a mock parody of an old school black and white PSA from like the 40s and 50s. A lot of people fell for that in the past. Even I did at one point because I didn't realize. I was like, hold on, I recognize this dude. Oh, it's Harry Enfield. But like he created what were those two teenagers that he created? All I wanna do is do it. Big O. It'll come to me. It'll come to me.
Hey, Michael Weiner, how you doing? You know, probably the biggest thing on Laugh In that couldn't make it on TV
Oh
today.
God, gay Nazis as well. That's it. Kevin and Perry. That was it. Kevin and Perry. Sorry, carry on.
The probably one of the bits that definitely couldn't make it on TV today without getting a lot of complaints. Because one of the recurring characters, you mentioned it just was a Nazi. You had Artie Johnson that used to poke up out of the bushes in the background every once in a while with a cigarette, dressed like a Nazi with the helmet and everything, you know, saying something like very interesting but stupid, you know, or something like that. You couldn't do it. And you had Goldie Hawn playing the dumb blonde all the time, you know.
Bloodwing, see, like we're all saying this, we're all making the arguments. I think everybody here agrees that, you know, you couldn't have many of these shows, many of these personalities and great writers and great comedians out there on TV or doing stand-up or even, you know, creating the old school comedy shows. And if you ever find yourself in a position where you have, you know, like a progressive type or whatever challenging you on this very concept, just remind them that last night on the Ghost Poo podcast, Irate Bear read an article that was trying to suggest that Paw Patrol, you know, the animated cartoon, yeah, is fascistic.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I find it ironic that in the 60s and 70s, we had shows, and there's lots of them. We haven't even scratched the surface. We haven't even talked about All in the Family. No way All in the Family could air today.
Married with Children.
And all that, you know, which were all recorded in a day. You could not say cuss words. No cuss words. Nothing. Now, here we are in a day where nothing, you know, any vulgarity you can use, but you can't talk about that subject because it's racist. You can't talk about that subject because it's homophobic. You can't. It's just ironic to me that here we are several decades on, and as we've stated, that stuff wouldn't be allowed today. But yet we've progressed so far as a society. Yes.
Oh my God, CNN did an article on it as well. The thing is, Bobbing, you have to realize last night when I read this article on Ghost Poo about Paw Patrol being fascistic, like the source was like really, you know, I'd never heard of it or anything. It was really a sort of a barely known kind of outlet. But CNN has done it as well. I'm going to share the friggin' screenshot.
Oh, Jedi Ghost Bear. No Way Hogan's Heroes, which was one of my favorite shows, by the way, could be aired today because the whole show was about Nazis. It was a comedy, but it was about Nazi POW camp. Yeah, there's no way that it could air today. And if it did, it would be so watered down, it wouldn't even be worth the effort.
I'm going to read this article to you.
All right.
Which I've just also retweeted it. It's in the same thread as the comedy thread, guys, for those who are following. I know Owen and Viper were. And yeah, there's some great American shows as well, man. Like, even for me, like, you've spoken about a couple of things I've never heard of. Like, but, you know, I literally grew up watching Married with Children.
Yeah.
And that couldn't be aired today.
No. You should do yourself
was the king of misogynists.
you should do yourself a favor, Bear, and look up old episodes of All in the Family on YouTube. I know they're there because I've watched them. And bear in mind that this show was broadcast through the 70s. And watch it. It was a forerunner of Married with Children. I would go so far to say there may not have been a Married with Children without All in the Family.
Okay.
It's but people today look at that and say, "Oh, that's racist. We can't have that," because the main character was Archie Bunker, and he was absolutely an ignorant racist.
Mm.
But it's satire. That's what people fail to realize. It was satire. But they didn't just laugh at the racists. They laughed at the lefties. They laughed at everybody.
Yeah.
It just was, and then the spin-offs from All in the Family. You had Maude. You had the Jeffersons. It just, But, we're so enlightened today. We've become so progressive, but that's not allowed.
Can I help you, child?
My eyes are getting blind.
Oh, well, stop watching your DVD player and go sleep then. So your mum's coming now. Close your eyes, boy. Sorry.
Yeah, Faithless is the left has no sense of humor. I'm really beginning to believe it watching that special. And, I've got no problem with Trump jokes. But when you do a whole 5 minutes of nothing but Trump jokes, come on,
Oh, it's funny because this article mentions. Oh, wait, this is actually from 2017 as well. The article that I read was a much more up-to-date one. Sarah said, who said Paw Patrol and Thomas Tank into the fascists. The CNN article's back from 2017. I'm going to have to get the original article that I had from last night from my history. So if you just talk for a moment. Excuse me. Or don't talk.
Do what?
Bloodwing.
What? Who?
Oh,
where?
Why?
What you talking about, Willis?
None. Where is it? I'll have that one because some of the articles that I had for Ghost Poo last night we didn't actually get to read because I just didn't keep up with to the format. I'm just trying to find it. Where is it? There it is.
Oh, man. Cuban Dolly says, I learned early to laugh at yourself. It makes things go easier if you dish it out, learn to take it. Dude, I had to learn to laugh at myself early. I mean, I was a scrawny little kid with big eyes and big ears. I mean, I literally looked like a spider monkey. You look at old pictures of me from the 60s, and I look like a daggum spider monkey without a tail.
Okay, I've got it. Excuse me. How have you not put a lock on that door? There is a lock on the door. On the other side.
On the wrong side of the door.
Yeah, it's a really old one as well. Like a bolt lock. And the little shit's locked me in it before as well. It's all right. I can get there's two doors to this room. One door is obviously, into the house. The other one leads outside. Even if I did put a lock on the door, it'd start banging on it. Paw Patrol, Mighty Pups, cartoon canines in fascistic mission. That's right, folks. The Paw Patrol, the dogs with the superpowers that your kids like to watch. The fascists. Review: an appalling, a terrible pun, attempt to normalize state-sponsored thuggery. Oh my God! During the 1970s, in a series of lectures at the Collège de France, Michael French, and I can't pronounce the guy's surname, outlined a secret history of the police, characterizing a force that paid greater attention to regulating the marketplace than investigating and arresting criminals. The central task of the police, according to classical French analysis, has also been to thwart and foil the possibility of revolution, the possibility of transgressing the order of capital for the bourgeoisie, the main danger against which it had to be protected, that which it had to be avoided at all costs, was armed uprising, was the armed people, was workers taking to the streets in assault against the government. Paw Patrol, Mighty Pups, the first theatrical reiteration from the popular animated franchise, is the latest shadowy attempt to normalize state-sponsored thuggery. These people, they just... they want to see it everywhere.
Yeah. Faithless as an underdog was a pill popping junkie. So what? And you say that, but try buying an uncut, as originally aired copy of the cartoon Underdog, because they've cut out all the references to him taking the super pills because it promotes drug use.
Yeah, it's funny because I have heard the Thomas thing before, that it's fascism, but I'm not sure whether it is or not. I don't think it fulfills all of the requirements for fascism.
Yeah.
It's more like just like a dictatorship with slavery.
Yeah.
If anything, it's not really much in the way of politics there. I suppose they kind of do like the vilification thing with the diesel engines. They don't like have that kind of ultra nationalistic romanticism that fascists tends to have.
Yeah.
So they don't really fit it in there. It's more like slavery, if anything.
Yeah. It's just a cartoon, folks.
Yeah, it's a friggin' show with model trains.
Yeah. Which brings me to, let me explain something you might have seen in the chat a while ago. My daughter, Mama Manny, said that they weren't allowed to watch Married with Children when it was on the air, and let me explain that. That is correct, because they were too little to that show pushed the envelope sometimes, and they were too young for that. So it was definitely an adult show. So yeah, I made the call and said no, we'll not watch. And you know, not to be hypocritical, I didn't watch it either. So we just didn't watch it. But yeah. And you know, there was a lot of the ask Mama Minnie when she was a little kid. She knew when bedtime was. You know how? When she'd hear the theme to Tales from the Crypt, which was on the air at that time. Dun, 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 dun. She knew it was bedtime. Because like, nope, they're not watching this.
Oh, so strange how the standard has changed over the years, man.
Yeah.
Like, I remember watching The Exorcist, the first one, and just being like, really? Who did this scare? And my mum told me when she went to go see that at the movies, like she said people were fainting and throwing up and running out. She said that it messed with her for a couple of years. I was like, really?
Yeah, absolutely. That's for real. You got to understand, there was nothing like that that existed at that time in the early 70s. And it was absolutely that's not just crap that people spout to you know, for what do they call it, for you know, legend. It was for real. There were people that were freaking out in the theaters, and yeah.
I remember thinking, this looks fake. This looks like garbage. Can you imagine if you took something like Paranormal Activity or like the Blair Witch Project or some of the found footage stuff and put it on the screens and not tell people that it's a movie?
Yeah, well,
back then people would they would die.
Well, I don't know. You mentioned two things that I'm not the biggest fan of.
Found footage movies.
No, I don't mind found footage. I just don't like the Paranormal Activity or the Blair Witch franchises. I just found them unscary, very unscary. Just they didn't flip my trigger.
That's fair enough.
Now,
I still have yet to watch Hereditary.
Yeah, I haven't either.
I need to watch it.
Now, I did like, what was the name of that movie? A lot of people did not like it, but I did. Springfield?
Cloverfield.
Cloverfield, that's it.
The first one?
Yeah.
I've not seen the second one.
But I did like that. And, it was mostly found footage. So
most people hate Cloverfield. And I'd be like, well, it's not that bad.
Yeah, it's not. My kids hated it. Well, J-Kid hated it. I don't know about the other two, but
well, you know what? I imagine J-Kid doesn't like a lot of things.
I am sure about that. But I liked it.
I thought it was right.
Yeah, it was okay. Which reminds me, not to change the subject, but it's still on the same tack. Watched a couple of science fiction movies last night.
Yeah.
Weren't too bad. I can't remember the names of them now. But they weren't the most favorite science fiction movies in the world, but they weren't too bad.
Yeah.
It was not a complete waste of time. Actually, I was watching I was watching some show on Netflix. It was some guy, and what he does is takes scenes out of movies and then tests it to see if you could really do that. Like for instance, the scene in oh my gosh, my brain just went totally dead. Like for instance, they took the scene in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and tested to see if you could actually shoot a rope in two. If somebody was being hanged.
Oh, I see. I see.
That kind of thing. Or what's the famous movie? Some people say it's a Christmas movie.
Die Hard?
Die Hard.
Yeah.
The scene in Die Hard where he's tied to the fire hose and swings out and shoots the window and then busts through it on the high rise to see if you could actually do that kind of thing. And they were testing whether or not in the movie Predator, the scene where the guy takes the minigun and pretty much mows down the jungle, right out to see if you could actually do that with a minigun, which by the way, they couldn't. Because the weeds just kept bending. the plants kept bending with the bullets. They couldn't chop them down.
Well, did they only use a minigun?
Yeah,
because that scene isn't just a minigun.
Well, it mostly was.
Well, I mean, there is there was a minigun, and there was a bunch of they also fired grenades from underslung grenade launchers. Obviously they had LMGs. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a 1980s, hoorah horror film.
Yeah.
Which
I really enjoyed. And after seeing that, I thought, I want to watch Predator again. I haven't seen it in a while.
The first one is great.
Yeah. And of course, it's not on Netflix. So I'm like, oh, crap.
Of course it's not. Netflix, it has some good stuff on it, but it really is lacking in a lot of areas, man.
But since it wasn't on there, I thought, well, I'll give some of these other science fiction, it was the recommended stuff that popped up when I tried to do a search on Predator, since Predator wasn't there. And watch those. They weren't the best things. They sure wouldn't replace Predator or Alien or anything like that, but it was not a waste of a couple hours,
Yeah. Those films are more action than horror anyway. I mean, the first Predator and the second one you could probably put down to being horror. But I'd say Alien, Resurrection, and everything beyond then, most of those are just action.
Yeah, movies. But the original Alien was definitely a horror film. Was absolutely definitely a horror film, which I seen first run at the indoor theater and sat front row. which was a huge mistake. Because I sat close enough where, you know, it was a big screen and I had to turn my head to see everything on the action. But the chest popping scene, which I had no idea was there because in those days they tried to keep that stuff undercover and there was no social media. So, you know, stuff like that didn't leak out as much.
Yeah.
The chest popping scene, I was like, oh crap, because it looked like it was right in my face.
By the way, for those who do have Netflix and haven't watched it yet, there's a comedy horror movie called Little Evil. It's about a guy who basically becomes the stepdad to the son of the devil.
Right.
And like the son of the devil, Damien, doesn't like him at first. And like basically the stepdad persists. And it's really good. I recommend people go watch it. It's very, very funny. And it has a couple of twists and turns that you wouldn't kind of expect from a movie like that.
Which, by the way, just a little bit of trivia for those. Some of you probably know this because I know you're into your movies. Some of you don't. During the chest popping scene, the cast's reaction to what's going on, and the one girl practically fainting in the background is real. They did not tell them what the scene was going to include, and the only ones in on it were the ones directly involved in the chest popping scene.
Yeah.
And so when the blood went flying everywhere and all over everybody's faces, their look of horror is real.
Yeah. That's a good way to do it as well, man.
Yeah.
That's a really good way to do it. Scare the shit out of your acting cast.
Well, they've done the same thing on The Shining.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, the original movie, The Shining, the scene where he cuts through the door with the axe, you know, here's Johnny, that scene, the actress was truly scared.
Oh, I bet.
She was horrified because they didn't tell her what was going to happen.
Yeah. The Shining. The kid, the little boy, I forget his name.
Red Rum.
Red Rum. No, the kid, he grew up to obviously continue his acting career. He was in the Island, Scottish fella. I'm looking at the wiki, but where's his freaking name? You think I'm looking at the cast, but he's not appearing on the cast. Why is he not appearing on the cast? He plays the bloody son.
Red Feather One says, I can't think of her name. She played Olive Oil. Yes, she did in the Popeye movie. And if you hadn't asked me, I could have told you what her name was. Somebody in chat will be able to tell. The actress that played the wife in Shining.
Frankie Boyle, can you imagine? That's why he turned out the way he bloody did.
Yeah, Shelley Duvall, thank you. And my memory is just terrible anymore. It's just awful. But
yeah, McEwen. Why is his name not appearing on the wiki?
I don't know.
That's really weird.
I don't know. QN Dolly says Shelley Duvall is in really bad shape nowadays. Yeah. Speaking of that, during that special, that Laugh-In special, they did have 3 of the original cast come back for cameos. Ruth Buzzy, Lily Tomlin, and Joanne Worley, which Joanne looked the same. Ruth Buzzy looks pretty much the same, but just a lot older. She now really looks like the old woman character she used to play during the bits with Artie Johnson. Lily Tomlin.
Ewan McGregor.
Yeah. Lily Tomlin has had way too many plastic surgeries. Way too many.
I swear to God, the kid is Ewan McGregor in The Shining.
Yeah.
I read that like a month ago.
It wouldn't surprise me if he was, but I don't know.
Well, I got this wrong.
Danny Lloyd, the chat is telling you.
Our IMDb is not my friend, right? It lists the Ghost Proof podcast on there and doesn't have me on the front page.
Bears should get top billing.
I should hope so. No. I swear to God, I read that. He was in Train Spotting.
Irate Prostate, who is really into his horror movies, so I would tend to think he's probably right. McGregor played grown Danny Torrance. So that might be what you had seen. And
yeah, maybe it was that. Maybe it was. I don't know. I swear I saw it, but in an article somewhere, and I was like, really?
Yeah. And speaking of movies, that it just come back to me this morning on my ride to get the girls for school. I was listening to Bob and Tom as usual, and they were reading an article where there's we talked about the online psychiatrist or whatever earlier. They're offering that for people that are upset at this season of Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, there's a helpline you can call.
Yeah,
for 40 quid an hour or something like that.
Yeah, if you're upset and don't know how you're going to go on in life because of Game of Thrones, there's help, folks.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are we really that bad in the world today? Are we that bad?
Well, apparently, yeah. Well, you've seen how mad people have been getting.
Oh yeah,
Twitter,
and I get it. You know, I've had shows that I really liked that just ended awfully. Just really ended terribly, and I was so disappointed. You know, and awful, and in some cases it can really ruin the experience for you. Like I mentioned earlier, I used to really love the show Jericho, but it ended so badly that I refused to watch it again. And it is on Netflix, but I refuse because I know how it ends. I'm like, and it was awful.
So I've read this. It's a movie called Doctor Sleep that McGregor is Danny Torrance. I guess so. I must have just got it confused.
Yeah.
I think I saw it in a news article and I just couldn't remember, I guess, whatever. I stand corrected. But yeah, if you have to call a helpline because a TV show didn't go the way you wanted, then you might be a giant fag.
Yeah, think.
Good grief. Like, at what point did we reach the friggin' stage where that we become so entitled and so rude and egotistical to the point where we think that writers should bend the story to our will?
Yeah. Well, and it probably was rushed and probably was lazy. And I think one of the evidences for that is look at it, what was it, a couple of weeks ago that coffee cup was spotted.
And there was a water bottle in the last one.
and also a bottle of water in the last one.
Oh, and a camera.
Yeah. So
in the battle.
Yeah. So it got a little sloppy there at the end. So yeah, it probably was rushed. You're probably right.
It was. Of course it was rushed.
But it's a TV show, folks. It ain't life and death.
Yeah.
Gosh.
In fact, I'm going to try and find the article that has that, the helpline that you can actually call. I'm just looking through my internet history. I don't like the way it's laid out, to be honest. This is today. Come on, scroll down. Right, okay. There it is. Game of Thrones helpline launched to help distressed fans to cope with the end of the series at £40 an hour. Professional counselors will guide fans on how to move on. I guess it's a grieving service.
Oh my gosh.
Let me see. Can I get a number? The service is being offered via professional services database bark.com, which normally links users to the likes of dog groomers, builders, and plumbers. Callers can talk through their pain with counselors who are familiar with the show so they can discuss storylines. The listing promises the professionals will help them digest their feelings and interpretation of the show, which could range from anger and confusion to sadness and grief. You know, I may be a millennial, Dad, but when I was a kid, people got upset over like a family member dying.
Yeah.
If they got annoyed by like the end of a TV show, or it was cut off by the network or whatever, they just went, "Oh, for fuck's sake," and that was it.
Yeah. Let me do my Jeff Foxworthy imitation here. If you need grief counseling because of the end of the Game of Thrones, you might be a snowflake.
Oh my god, it's fucking real. It's taken me right to a as it said, bark.com, which is like a yellow page kind of thing. And I just typed Game of Thrones into the thing where it says, "What do you need?" And it says Game of Thrones counseling. It autocomplete for me. What do you need counseling for? Clegane Bowl? Dealing
and did you say $40 an hour?
Yes, sir.
That's like what, $55 an hour? Good grief.
Oh my good lord. I'm actually just sharing a screenshot.
And you know what? I hope these people make bank.
Yeah, so do I. Because that's capitalism, baby.
I hope they make bank because if there's people stupid enough to call that, then they deserve to lose their money.
So what do you need counseling for? Clegane Bowl. Dealing with David Benioff and Daniel Wise's writing decisions. Dealing with Game of Thrones loss. Discussing plot twists. Help with plot armor. Numerous major Game of Thrones plot holes. Post Game of Thrones emptiness.
Good, Ari.
Continue. Do you have a preference for the counselor's gender? No preference. Is this service for you? Yes, it's for me. Which days are you available for counseling? Any? Which time are you available? Anytime. Which type of counseling would you consider? Oh my. Wait, is there group sessions?
Oh my gosh. All
right, it's doing a search now. Oh, great. We've got pros ready and available. Click continue to get your quotes. Oh, I've got to put my email address in. Okay. I don't want to put my phone number in.
No,
I don't want to go that far, but
that is just absolutely ridiculous.
Oh God.
I mean, I remember one of my favorite shows used to be the show Heroes. Most of you
I love that show.
And it ended lazily. It really did. The last season was pretty. After the writer's strike, it was never the same, actually. But it did, and ended late. And I remember being pretty upset about that, pretty mad about how it ended. It was bad, but it was just a TV show. After I got through ranting and raving, I just switched the channel and watched something else.
Yeah. If anybody wants counseling, there you go. It's the article to the Sun, and there's if you scroll down, you can find the link to Bark. Go through and you can input your deets there, mate.
The chat's trying to get you to put Drunkle's phone number in.
I do have his phone number as well. Well, I did say to him he should do it for a video. I think it would make some great content.
Record it. Record his experience with the counselors.
Yeah. I don't see why not. There's some content. I mean, it might be very expensive content, but it's still content. God damn it, it's still content. Paranormal investigation. Oh God, it's French. Ugh. Oh no, Owen Harmon. I had nothing to do with that. What are we on about? What are you on about?
I think he's talking about wanting you to put in Drunkel's number. It was.
Oh, well, I'll tell him it was you. I'll tell him my phone was hacked because I've got one of those Huawei phones. Because I recently upgraded my phone, Bloodwing. You see, I've gone from an iPhone 8, I think it was, to a Huawei P30, which of course is a Chinese communist phone. And there's apparently like a big drama with Huawei and Trump and America right now. I don't know the deets. I've not looked into it. Something to do with hacking or something like that. I guess the Chinese can sit there and watch porn with me, I guess, if they really want. And they can watch me like text the missus from time to time. I don't know what the deets are. I don't like the phone, to be honest. My fingers are too fat. And not just that, but the screen actually bends around the sides of the phone. And as you know, I've got cheeseburger hands, so I can't grip the phone properly without touching everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep dropping it on the floor as well. One of these days, that's going to be
too long.
Yeah, it's not. I have got insurance with it though, so one of these days, mate, I'm going to drop that phone on purpose at the window. like VB, she's had a Huawei, one of the older models, for a while. She's like, it's good, isn't it? I went, no, it's not. It's crap. I said, you lot try telling me that the iPhone's rubbish, right? But the iPhone is the best bloody phone on the market by far. Like, everything else is garbage. You know what I mean? Like, it's obviously got the best security compared to all the other makes. Like, the screen doesn't spurg out when I'm trying to bloody use it. The two good things about my Huawei is that the power is awesome and lasts forever and like can charge really quickly, and the camera is good. That's about it. iPhone is by far the best. I kind of regret changing brands, to be honest with you. Oh, the apps are also worse because the apps are different for obviously other phones.
Yeah,
you're all talking at your ass if you think anything is better than iPhone. Sorry, but you're wrong. Objectively so. I'll fight the lot of you and all.
Well, I'm not a fan of anything Apple, so don't ask me.
I'll fight you and all.
You gonna pack a lunch?
Try
take you all day.
Try catching me, old man. I'll kick you in the shin.
There.
I'll kick you in the shin and run. I know you ain't got any guns.
No. Anyway, believe it or not, I've got to go to the bathroom again.
It's a double wee.
It is. It's been like that all day, but I shall be right back.
Ah, man. I'll fight the lot of you. Right? iPhones are objectively better. Right. The only problem with iPhones, right, is that Apple are scumbags that mess with the settings, right? And the fact that they degrade a little bit faster than other phones. That's about it. The apps from the Apple Store are better by far. 100% better. Apple is right there, mate. They're all evil overlords at the end of the day. I don't think I'd ever have an Apple computer. They're not that I'd be able to afford one of those things. iPhones are not for male feminists and hipsters. The bloody Samsung, that is for bloody hipsters. I don't like iPhone. iPhone haters are hipsters. Come on, let's stop living in denial. Yeah, only hipsters say things like that, by the way. I'm not. It's objectively. You're calling me a peasant, right? But it's like the most expensive phone on the market as well. And I'm stuck with this thing now, calling me a bloody peasant. When I used to have a decent bloody phone. By the way, I'm just looking through the horror movie collection on Netflix, and nothing is tickling my fancy at all. At all. It all looks like garbage. Some of it looks like bloody remakes as well. Yeah. No. Michael Warner says, I carry an iPhone for work, but prefer my Droid. But I do use Mac OS X at home for my main system. Fair enough. Apple people are narcissists trying to keep up with the Joneses. Not at all. But they just like decent technology. That's pretty much it. With decent interfaces, and of course decent, apps as well. There's not a lot of good horror movies, is there? Most of it just looks like frigging remakes. Nothing is screaming out to me on Netflix right now.
No, there's not. Most of it all depends way too much on gore and jump scares, which I'm not against gore if it makes sense, in the plot, and I'm not against a jump scare now and again. But if that's all you do, then yeah, that's just not scary. It's just annoying.
Yeah. I mean, they've got some old school stuff on there, but it's stuff that I've seen. I think like the Species movies. Of course, I'm sick of things like bloody Saw. It's just the same old crap over and over again. It's like how many of the same movie are you gonna make?
Well, I heard recently that they're remaking it.
Oh, for God's sake!
With Chris Rock.
What?
Yep. I'm not joking.
There's like 7 Hostel movies, and then not Hostel. There's 7 Saw movies, and then there's Jigsaw. I think. I'm not watching Jigsaw. It's all the same crap to me. There's no decent concepts, man. Nothing. There's the Belko experiment was quite good. That was basically battle royale for employees of a company based in Brazil, like all Americans, like working for the company inside an office building, which was quite interesting. That one was alright. Not great, but it was certainly watchable, and I think it has rewatchability. There was that movie that kind of freaked me out a little bit, that Misa had me watch a while back, where they get taken by cannibals in the jungle, and it's green something. Someone in the chat will know what I'm talking about, because they like scoop out some guy's eyes while he's still alive and eats it in front of him. Yeah.
Sounds like a throwback to the old Italian cannibal
Green
movies.
Inferno. Thank you, Irate Prostate. Yeah, I recommend people give that a watch. Yes, it's extremely gory, and one of the first deaths is just retarded. But the rest of the movie is it'll get you. It'll get you that one. It's grim. Very, very grim. But the ending to it, I hated. I was genuinely like, I was as mad at the ending of that movie as the Game of Thrones people are right now. I didn't need counseling though, of course. Yeah, Eli Roth. Yeah, directed by Eli Roth. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like that's a throwback to the Italian cannibal movies, which there was a huge run of back in the 70s and 80s.
Oh yeah, man, it was horrible. Extremely gory. Yeah, it's pretty bad, pretty damn bad. But I still thought it was good, but the ending made me really mad.
And you know, I'll watch the stuff. I hate that they removed the rating system on Netflix. I really do. I hate that they, because you used to be able to go in there and see comments and see what people said about it. Now, I didn't let that make my mind up for me. I would still watch something that everybody seemed to have hated just to see if I hate it.
Mm.
You know, because it's, you know, it wouldn't be the first time that I liked something that everybody else hated.
You can still vote up and down stuff on there. You just
Yeah, that's it.
can't leave comments there, I guess.
Yeah. But
yeah, nothing on there's screaming out to me, really. I'll just watch anime when I get in bed.
yeah, I mean, it's the horror genre to me has took a big hit in the last few years. There's just nothing really great anymore.
Oh, by the way, The Babysitter is also on Netflix, and that's actually quite good for a horror movie.
But you know, thankfully, I grew up in a great time for horror movies. You know, in the 70s, and as a young adult in the 80s, it was a great time for horror movies. A lot of long-lasting franchises come out of those days. But yeah, not too much in the way to me that stands out to me either.
Yeah. I'll just watch anime when I get in bed. Irate Prostate mentioned Attack on Titan. I watched the 4th episode of season 3, part 2 today. So you won't see that on Netflix, obviously. They've only got like the first season on Netflix, I think. Like Netflix is a bit poo for anime as well, really. Their selection isn't the best in the world, but they had the Fate series, which I'm still plowing through at the moment. So
Blake Becker, yes, I've actually watched both of them. Deer Hunter, I watched at the movies when it came out. But lately now, I watched some of it. My wife's been getting into it. The TV show on Netflix, Lucifer.
Yeah, I watched the full 4th season recently, which is on Netflix.
Yeah, well, every season's on Netflix. But
no, it's not.
Yes, it is.
I'm fairly sure that Amazon Prime had it first.
I'll guarantee it's on Netflix.
I swear it started on Amazon Prime.
Well, it may not be on Amazon Prime, but it is on Netflix.
The new season is, yeah.
No, you have to physically change. It defaults to season 4, but if you click on the little arrow, it'll give you the option.
Didn't it start on Amazon Prime at first, and then Netflix acquired it?
It may have. Well, actually, it started on network TV here in the States.
Yes, I know it's on Netflix. I'm just saying, I swear that Amazon had it first.
But one thing it does do is it defaults to season 4 when you first click on it.
Yeah, Netflix is a bit crap like that. It does that with everything.
So I've watched part of the first season. She's just about through with it, I think, which wasn't bad. I've put off watching it for quite a while because shows like that tend to aggravate me, you know, but it's not too bad.
No, I liked it. The 4th season I liked a lot more than previous seasons because there was a lot more heavy focus on the biblical aspect.
Yeah.
And that's what I watched it for in the first place, really. I didn't really care about the crime solving.
Yeah.
I watched it for the biblical aspect and the fact that, you know, Lucifer's quite, you know, a funny guy.
But yeah, that's why I liked it, because the guy is funny. I don't.
He's also Welsh.
Yeah, I don't tend to watch shows like that because there's a part of me that wants to compare it with what's really in the Bible, and of course, you know, it's a dramatization. It's not going to match in any way, shape, or form.
No, of course not.
And that part aggravates me. But you know, I was able to get past that and accept it for what it was, you know, and and enjoy it.
Mm.
Of course, my wife is a huge Supernatural fan, so
Yeah, it started on Fox. It's based on the DC Comics character created by. Didn't know it was based on DC Comics.
I knew it was based on a comic. I didn't know who done it, but I knew it was based on a comic.
The comic book series, The Sandman. I'm just trying to see. I thought that it started off on. Like I thought it was one of those, like you know how Netflix has their own original series. Amazon Prime does the same thing. Amazon Prime's not very good, by the way. The best thing that they've done has been the Viking series, and I wouldn't go beyond the 3rd season. You know, and I'm being generous there.
No, it actually Lucifer started. I think it was CBS started on network TV here, and then they canceled it, and Netflix picked it up. I'm pretty sure is how it went.
Well, either way, it doesn't matter. You can watch a lot of it on Netflix, guys.
Yep.
And I think it's a decent show, and you can binge it all in one go as well. So
yeah, the seasons weren't too long for it, as I recall.
Was it? Is it 10 episodes?
10 episodes a season until. Is it the last season? I think
I'm gonna look now.
But
I've not long watched it myself. I should probably remember. I hate the autoplay feature on Netflix. It's so annoying.
Oh, I know, it drives me nuts.
Oh, stopped autoplaying. Oh my god.
I'm just trying to scroll through to see what I might want to watch, and it keeps playing whatever, you know. I hate that.
Season 4 has 10 episodes. This thing doesn't like to. You know what, Netflix? You don't make things easy.
Yeah, but I'm just as likely. Lately, I finished it, but lately I was watching a series. It was, you've heard of this TV show, American Pickers.
Wait a minute. Does it not have season 1 to 3?
Yeah.
It's not showing up.
Click on the little arrow where it shows, that it's season 4.
Yeah, I've clicked on it. I've clicked on Lucifer. I've got the thing.
Yeah, and so it maybe for you it doesn't. It
says, you know why? Because the Netflix UK is different to Netflix America.
Yeah.
Like there was a thing that I think you suggested to me the other week, and I was like, "It's not on Netflix." And he's like, "Yeah, it is." I went, "No, it's not." And I looked; it's only available on American Netflix. It's right. Stop asking me about VPNs, right? I mean, I don't know how many times I have to tell you people.
But yeah, I'm just as likely to watch things like what I just finished watching recently. I don't know if you've ever heard of the show American Pickers, or it's a show where a couple of guys travel around all over the place and dig through junk trying to find, things that they can sell that might, collectors might want. But this was more particular. It was mostly focused on old mining stuff. So they were going through like Nevada and Montana and Idaho and places where the gold and silver rush were at, and the Oregon Trail, so there was a lot of Western stuff involved. I like stuff like that,
Yeah.
But,
I've been watching the Nazi program, the Hitler's in a Circle.
I already watched that, and it's not bad. It's not bad.
No, functional, right. Okay, one last time I'm going to explain this. VPNs, I've tried several, paid and free, all decimate my internet speed. They are not an option for me.
But yeah, if you're into history and if you're into that kind of, which I obviously am.
Because he's lived most of it,
Yeah, exactly. I've lived a lot of it, that's for sure. Not World War II, though. But that is World War II and the American Civil War are probably my two passions history-wise.
An anime that I would recommend, which is brand new to Netflix, is a new anime called Revisions. I think it's like 12 episodes long, as most typical animes are. It's visually very nice. Visually very nice. Unfortunately, the main protagonist is voiced by the same guy who voiced Kirito and Eren Yeager, and is a wannabe who has a massive hero complex and is very annoying and is very shouty, just like most of the characters he often plays. I forget the guy's name. I do follow him on Twitter. But it's actually not that bad, and you can binge the whole lot of it. Am I going to watch the new Godzilla movie? Yes, I will watch the new Godzilla movie. I will. I think it looks stunning. I don't know. Have you watched the trailer?
Do what? If I've seen the trailer, no, I have not.
But will you watch the new Godzilla movie?
No. Haven't had the opportunity. As long as it's better than the one they done several years ago, that one was awful. The one with the guy from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah.
That was awful.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. No, it was all right. I mean, it was all right. It didn't stay true to what Godzilla's supposed to be.
It would have been all right if they hadn't have framed it as a Godzilla movie, because that was not Godzilla.
Yeah, it wasn't Godzilla. It was just basically a big lanky dinosaur, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't. I completely agree with that, and I don't think you should look at it as a Godzilla movie. But as its own standalone thing, it was all right. It wasn't that bad. No, the next Godzilla movie is a sequel, isn't it? To the last one, isn't it?
I don't know. I hadn't heard about it. I haven't got to see the last one because it hasn't come out on something. I can't afford to go to the movies, folks. It's too much money for this old guy.
Godzilla's been out for ages now, mate.
Yeah. Owen Harmon. Yeah, sure. We can work it out. I love talking history, dude. I'll talk your ear off. You get me on history.
I always said that you should have started a bloody history channel. Or just like do it on this channel, whatever.
I probably could have, but if there's a genre that you're less apt to be successful than the one that we're already in,
it is a sequel.
It's history.
There we go. Yeah. The next one is a sequel to the most recent one, the one where it had Bryan Cranston in it.
Thank you, Owen Harmon, for the donation. Go to the movies, mate. I can't afford it, dude. I think the last movie that I went to see was the Batman movie with Heath Ledger in it, and I didn't even pay for that. I didn't even pay for that. J-Kid paid for that for me.
Mind you, I've not been to the cinema in a long time either.
Yeah.
In a very long time. In fact, I think Godzilla may have actually been the last movie I saw in the cinema.
It just cost way too much to go to the theater here.
Yeah, it does here, mate. It's quite pricey here.
And my money could when I look at that and I said, well, I could pay that much for going to the movies, or I could eat for several days. Which do I do? Which do I do? And I usually pick eating because I'm kind of fond of eating. I don't know about you, but
well, I do enjoy eating. Right. I don't eat much these days, hence why I'm losing so much bloody weight. Oh dear.
We're down to where we've got about 3 minutes left, guys. I've enjoyed this stream because we've just kind of chin-wagged. We've just talked. I like it when we do that sometimes.
Yeah. But the news that we had wasn't like brand new news either.
No.
It was just a quick look at stories that we were talking about anyway.
So if with a couple of minutes left, if you have any questions or whatever, hey, shoot them.
Yeah, well, don't shoot them. I mean, you need a license for that in this country if you're British. So
Yeah, well, you need a license for a butter knife in Britain. So
yeah, license for a friggin' whisk. That kills me, man. That image that I saw with the whisk with the 18 and over price tag on it.
yeah.
It still gets me. Like,
What are you gonna do with a whisk?
Whisk somebody to death? I don't know. Stick it in their mouth and just like whisk.
Blake Becker asked what my favorite Rambo movie was. Actually, Rambo was one of the things that that TV show I was talking about earlier looked at to see if you could do some of the things that were in the Rambo movies, if they were, could be done. But my favorite is the first one, probably.
Yeah, get Owen Jones. Sorry, Owen. I've just realized I've just massively insulted you there, sir. Owen, get Owen Harmon on to take my place for when I have my break at some point. And talk Civil War stuff because, as you know, I know bugger all about the Civil War.
Yes, Jen, I watch MASH religiously and still rewatch old reruns of it. Yeah, massive MASH fan.
Peter Ullman asks, how do I keep your legs so smooth? I use a whisk.
Yeah. Quinn the Cultist asks if I ever watched Tales from the Crypt. You must have missed the first part of the stream because I actually talked about Tales from the Crypt. Yeah. Do 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 do. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, get out of the way there. So what do we got here? I have all the seasons of MASH on DVD. Foxy Verge says, yeah, I would probably like having them on DVD myself. Great show. Absolutely great show.
Oh, I need to catch up on my Japanese cartoons.
Yeah.
I
The
need
funny
to catch
thing
up
is
with
that
them.
MASH lasted longer than the Korean War that it was based in. The TV show.
The new Isekai Quartet is out. That's 12 minutes. I can put into some anime. But of course, the freaking dub for the next episode of Shield Hero isn't out again. Sorry, I'm just talking about my.
I have
Japanese
no
cartoons.
clue when you start talking that Japanese pinko kami crap.
I don't know why you call it pinko commie crap. Like, you're the one who scored like in the commie zone when you took your political compass test last week.
Yeah, which tells me how accurate those things are.
Look, Viper, right? I would watch it subbed if I started it subbed. Well, I started watching Demon Slayer. That's not dubbed, and I've got to watch it subbed, so I will continue to watch it as subbed. But I'm used to it English, so I'm gonna continue with English. Or a bear. When are you going to make an anime? What do you mean? What do you mean make an anime?
Willie Ham says, do I get annoyed on how Hollywood portrays rednecks? It depends. Depends on what you're talking about. If they're portraying them as just all a bunch of racists, yeah, that aggravates me because that's definitely not true. If it's just poking fun at how dumb some of them can be, some of them are pretty dumb. So no, that doesn't bother me. And one of the reasons that I outright admit and play on the fact that's a whole part of my shtick is being a redneck is I'm trying to reclaim that term for all rednecks as not being a bad thing.
Are we going to meet Yorkshire Bear soon? Well, no. If I create any more characters, it will be on Irate Alex, and there will be no more bears. Got to disassociate, my dude. What do you mean? Chaos Eve is taking pride in the fact that she confused me. That's not difficult.
It's really not. It's really not.
You know what happened earlier?
Huh.
Right? I thought the kitchen door was slightly ajar, and I walked square into it. Bang. And I was holding things as well, so...
Hey, Bear, there's a door there.
Yeah, there was a door.
Anyway, we have gone over time by a minute or two, which is okay because we did start a couple of minutes late.
I don't even
lost
get
track
paid
of
to
time.
be here either. Like,
But
do bloody overtime.
yeah.
Slave driver Bloodwing over here.
But thank you, chat, for coming out and supporting the stream with your presence and with your likes and your shares. Thank you to those that were able to donate for your donations. Much appreciated, and will absolutely go to a good cause. As always, thank you, Bear, for coming out. Anything you want to show?
Yes, everybody's favorite Lord Bear has a brand new video over on IRA Alex that you can go check out. It's a video pointing out the hypocrisy of H3H3. There it is. It's now linked in the chat. Go check it out, guys. Give it a watch. Give it a like and share, please. That's pretty much it from me, mate.
Yeah, go see it. Again, thank everybody for coming out. Please be sure to check us out on the next episode of Redneck Radio, which will be Thursday at 2:30 Eastern Standard Time.
That's right.
And until then, as always, get out of my yard.
Bye, guys.